as you guys can tell, we are back, and we are back on the M3. We have been doing a lot of stuff lately. A lot of car-related stuff, but nothing for the actual M3. As you see, we have a bunch of parts. I think everybody's seen some pictures of the new felony form kit that I got. We sold the carbon fiber version. I wasn't going to sell them. I was going to keep them. But somebody local really wanted them. And so we have a brand new felony form kit. As you see, it's stacked over here. It's not on the car yet. That is on our list of things to do to this dirty, dirty car. As you see, it's very dirty. Haven't had it covered. It's been sitting in here. We've done little things here and there, like we refinished the UUC wing and a few other things, but we have big plans for this car. So, a couple things on our list for this car are the Kansei wheels. We are popping those off, and the BBSs are going back on, but we need to refinish those first before we put those back on. But those are going back on. The felony form is getting painted red and getting reinstalled as well. I'm looking at redoing our front fenders, so I'm looking for possibly a spare set of front coupe fenders that I can cut up a little bit differently than what we have here, so that we can kind of refine the look of the car and make it a little bit cleaner, which is what we're going with on the new build for the M3. We also have in store are the ITBs. As you saw, we tuned them, we got everything running very well all together with no MAF or anything, so we are solid there. What we're going to do is replace the radiator in the front, redo a few lines, because we got a brand new radiator from our sponsor, Mishimoto. So they sent us out a brand new radiator. That radiator that's currently there is going to go over and into the 318 when we actually start working on that. So we're going to replace the radiator. We're going to put in the new coolant tank from Mishimoto as well. And we are going to put back on the carbon fiber intake manifold here. It's dirty, but we're going to put this back on so that we have a complete carbon fiber look on the engine bay. But we have a few things to do in the engine to get it running. I mean, not running, but together so it's roadworthy. Got to swap the wheels. We have to put the rear brakes on as well from the 135. As you saw, we have the front ones on. We need to get the rear ones on. We need to finish the interior. So these seats are going to come out, and we are going to eventually get these recovered. We are looking at recovering them in a little bit of a different fashion, but it's still going to go with the clean factor of the M3. The rear wing, we already refinished and is looking great, so we are solid there. The rest of the car, I have a surprise coming for the front suspension, but the airbag system, looking at switching it up a little bit, guys. So we're looking at getting rid of the air suspension and going back to a full coilover. Only because of the surprise coming for the front, we kind of need to be on coilovers for those to work. So I'll be removing those eventually, and we're going to be putting back in the VC coilovers with VC springs. But we have big plans for this car. It really needs to be cleaned up. So one of our first things, we're going to jump to the motor. We are going to the TPS sensor. We need to zero that out to the right voltage, so that the ECU is correctly reading our throttle input, and then work on the cooling system. So let's get to it. See you guys in a second. So guys, we pulled the TPS sensor to dial it in, and this sucker is busted. So we get no rating, and there's really no resistance in this thing at all. This thing just really flops around in there. So that is going to be one of our issues. So we are going to go try to find another one. I have a few throttle bodies around here. I just don't know exactly where they are or what bin they're in, but I probably have another one of these somewhere. We can see if we can get one that actually works. But thanks to the voltmeter, we were able to test that and figure that one out. So we are good there. Our other thing is, we got our ICV, and we are going to hook that one up right here in line. So this is gonna hook into the end of the big port. I need to run to O'Reilly's and pick up some more vacuum lines, because I gotta take this vacuum line and take it to the brake booster so that we can run that vacuum line, this to the ICV, and then the ICV is gonna go into the bottom of the carbon fiber intake hose, and that'll hopefully fix our idle issue that we've been having, which was it just wasn't idling. Well, it was once it warmed up, but it had to warm up before it would idle. So I am down on parts that I need, very unprepared for this job. So we're gonna jump to the coolant tank and put the coolant tank in. So, as most of you know, the E36 expansion tank is always on this side. I had the Euro tank set up kind of back there. I am now moving it to behind the driver's side headlight. So, we are going to mount it right there. So, as you can see, it fits in a little spare tire well right behind the headlight. Cool little setup. It's gonna allow us to tuck the coolant hose down and behind, and so you will not see the hose as it comes down, and it'll come up and in underneath where all our power steering stuff is. So this is going to be our new location for our expansion tank. So all I need to do is I'm going to fab up a bracket that will go from here, most likely underneath this, to hold that all together. Most likely that'll be some sort of carbon fiber bracket piece that I'll make right there, and then that frees up this whole side for absolutely nothing. And then back there, so what we're gonna do back here is, this was where our expansion tank was located. That is all come out now, so that is no longer being used. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna take, we have a Alumilite panel that we covered a lot of this with. We are actually going to make that out of carbon fiber, so that this whole piece here covers everything. It's going to be one piece of carbon fiber to cover that side, because there's absolutely nothing on that side anymore. And then this side's just going to be a giant carbon fiber intake. So that is what we're going to do. And because we're not running a MAF or anything, we don't need this area for our air intake, so we are golden there. As you can see, we have our Mishimoto tank mounted. So we were gonna mount it over here, but if we're gonna put the intake back on and run any sort of filter or anything on it, that would be in the way. Be cool location, but wouldn't work. So we have mounted it here. We don't have the full shroud. We have trimmed our shroud completely so it just holds this. We're gonna make a little bracket here to mount it from here to here so that this thing doesn't move. It's on there, but we don't want it to move anymore. That allows us to have all our tank mounted. I need to get a new coolant line. So this coolant line was the coolant line that I modified and cut up to run over there, so it's a lot shorter. We need the OEM one so we can run it and run it over to our coolant tank. So again, we need more parts. We hooked up our ICV, but we need to get all our hoses. And then the one thing we will do is, I have it somewhere up in here. There is a fitting. No. there's a fitting somewhere for the tank. I mean, not the tank. For this to plug in. I don't know where it is. It's plastic. It's here somewhere. To plug that into the ICV so that you can run the ICV to the intake manifold, so you get stuff that's after the MAF type situation, so all the vacuum lines will work. But we have reached a stopping point for tonight. We need some vacuum hoses, we need some coolant hoses, and I'm not going to start suspension or anything tonight. So this is the end of the video, guys. Sorry it's so short, but we are full-time back on the M3, and we are going to get this sucker roadworthy. As you can see, she's very dirty. She's apart. So it's going to be back together. We're going to be ripping the streets. BBSs are going back on. Conseys are probably going to be for sale, so if you're interested, all these brand new tires, new wheels, they have less than like 100 miles on them. Hit me up. Keep watching. Subscribe, like, comment, anything you guys want to know. I'm here. I answer questions, and I'll see you next video.